Are you ready to be empowered with hope, faith, and confidence to believe in yourself, to overcome your fears and battle through every challenge and bully you face, both real and in your mind? Are you ready to learn life-changing strategies on how to develop the right mindset and positive mental attitude to courageously stand out in the crowd and be who you were born to be? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Building Warrior Confidence Podcast. Greetings and welcome to another uplifting, life-changing episode of the Warrior Confidence Podcast. I'm your host, Master Rich Grogan, and I'm truly grateful you're here today. Now, if you're new to the show and this is your first time, then welcome to the show. What took you so long to get here? I'm just kidding, but I'm glad you're here. And of course, if you're coming back for more, then welcome back and ready to be empowered with some more Warrior Confidence power and another round of uplifting content to help empower you to be your very, very best. Well, how are we doing today? Well, I hope you're having a great day, and this episode is exactly what you need to make that day even better. Or maybe on the other side, you're not having a good day, and then I'm really hopeful this episode is exactly what you need to turn your day around and get you on that right path. Either way, I promise I'm going to give you everything I've got, do everything I can to make our time together empowering, valuable, educational, and enjoyable, and most importantly, that you walk away that's saying, wow, that was some time well spent. That's my goal. So what are we talking about today? Well, here's a couple teasers before we get into the show. Here's a question. Are you self-sabotaging by the influences you surround yourself with? I'm like, whoa. How about this one? Do you have anchors in your life that bring you down, or do you have engines in your life that lift you up? Or how about this question? Do you have people in your life, and possibly family members, that make you feel bad about just being you, being yourself, trying to step out of that proverbial round hole, trying to step out and utilize your unique God-given talents to be who you're born to be? Do you have those people in your life? Are you staying in the same spot with the same people because it's easier and not necessarily what's best for you? Well, some serious questions, aren't they? Well, I'll tell you what, while you're thinking about that, just a reminder, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Be sure to also listen to previous episodes, and be sure to visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the @ Warrior Confidence, and the links of everything is always in the description, so you can check that out. But, man, we've got at least two new videos coming out every single week on our YouTube channel. So they're powerful videos. Part of it's me, well, I'm talking during the whole video, but the clips, the animation, the video clips, I guess I said clips twice now, but, the video images that they pop in there and the pop-ups and the music, boy, oh boy, they're powerful. So check on over. Those are usually around 5 to 7, sometimes 10-minute long videos, but just enough to give you a quick right hook of reality and motivate you to take on the day. And, of course, you can listen to the podcast in your car and you watch the videos on your phone. So there's all kinds of content and different ways to help empower you to stay motivated, stay upbeat, because, man, life's tough. It really is. And life does what it can to beat you down. And that's what I want to do, what I can to help empower you and lift you up. Good, good, good? All right, well, if that's good with you, let's dive right into today's show. Well, this is episode number 344, and I titled this episode, Avoiding the Pitfalls of Negative Influences. So I asked the questions a little bit ago here. Are you self-sabotaging by the influences you surround yourself with? You may say, what in the world does that mean? Well, think about the word self-sabotaging. It's things we do to ourselves to sabotage, well, not only ourselves, but our success, our goals, our purpose, what we were put on this earth to do. We're all meant to do something amazing. None of us are meant to just kind of coast and float through life. We're not meant to have the winds of life or the winds of change just blow us in any and every direction. It'd be easy to go through life like that. And I know for a number of years I went through life like that. More years than I cared, well, not even years, decades. And that's why, I'm blessed that you take the time out of your busy day to listen, but that's why I'm transparent, openly sharing all these things that I've went through, experienced. And I know your challenges, your struggles, your battles are far different than mine, but I'm sure there's some comparison, there's some similarities. And my goal is to help you with what I'm sharing of my struggles and challenges and self-sabotaging myself. And a lot of it was, unfortunately, the people I would surround myself with the most. So are you doing that? And I always like to talk about, there's engines and anchors that are kind of our influences in life. And the engines are the ones that lift us, drive us, propel us to new levels of success. They're all about getting up there and soaring with the eagles, baby, being who you were born to be. They're helping us. They're not laughing at us when we throw out goals, or we talk about books we're reading, or we're talking about our plans for success or plans for the future. No, they're not only not laughing at us, they're matching us with what they're doing. That's called a mastermind alliance. Napoleon Hill used to talk about that all the time. I've read just nearly every single one of his books. And if you haven't cracked into Napoleon Hill, the books are fantastic. Oh, my gosh. Talk about mind-blowing and changing. Think and Grow Rich is kind of his most popular book. Fantastic. And I also subscribe to the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And what that is every day you'll get a Napoleon Hill quote in your inbox. And wow, that's something I've actually considered as soon as I will hire somebody on the back end to work on those things for me. But send out daily, and we'll probably start off with weekly, like little newsletters. Nothing big, but just little quotes with different things to help empower and inspire you. Now, like I mentioned, the Napoleon Hill, part of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, that shows up in the inbox every single day, and that's just one of the many ways that I try and prime the brain, or first thing in the morning, where I'm putting in the right influences, right? Putting in the right data, if you will, to help empower me throughout the day. Because if not, what you plant is what you grow. And if you start off, and I've done this, I drifted a little bit these past couple years with having a little more time on my hands since we sold the Martial Arts Academy. But with that, a little too much social media and negative influences, which is a hard battle to battle out of. So that is definitely a pitfall, negative influences. It doesn't necessarily have to be people. It could be what you're spending your time on. And if you're spending your time on politics, and it doesn't mean you don't need to be informed. Yes, we need to stay informed of what's going on, but it can't be a situation that we get so, absorbed with it and so consumed with it that it pretty much sucks the life out of us. And, it's easy to slip off that. I had this couple podcasts ago, I talked about, one of the books I wrote with Tom Ziegler is called Road Trip, and talking about having guardrails in life to keep you from drifting off on the highway, drifting off into the embankment or into the ocean, or crossing lanes and crashing into a car on the other side. We have those guardrails on highways and freeways and bridges. But oftentimes we don't have those guardrails in our own life, and before we know it, we've drifted. I mean, we've all done it, right, with social media. Oh, I'm just going to spend a couple minutes on there. You jump on there, and before you know it, it's like, did I really just spend a half hour? Did I really just spend an hour? And then you have to ask yourself, what did you get in return for that hour? What was your return on investment? I mean, was it really worth your time? I mean, let's just say that your time on a very low end is worth $100 an hour. Now, personally, I think your time is far more valuable. I mean, it's priceless, but if we had to put a dollar figure on it, it's definitely more than $100 an hour. But let's just go with $100 an hour. So you just spent $100 of your time that you'll never get back. You just pretty much gave up $100 for that time on social media. Was that worth that $100? And now think about how hard you have to work at your job to make $100. Was that a good return on investment? I would have to say majority of the time, at least for me, the answer is no. Now, like I mentioned, I think you should probably value your time at least $500 or $1,000 an hour. Now, you may say, well, no, I'm not worth that. I'm not. Well, get those thoughts out of your head. You're priceless, so even $1,000 an hour is too low. But I get what you're saying. You want to remain humble, but what you put out in the universe, what you feel and think about yourself, and what you think your time is worth and how you value yourself, maybe we start planting those seeds in our mind. We start questioning how we're wasting time. And heck, me just saying this has got the hamster wheel in my brain spinning. It's thinking, wow, okay, let's say I value my time at $1,000 an hour, and I just spent, 3 hours in the past 2 or 3 days on social media? You can set those things on your phone. You can check on it, how much phone usage time and how much time you spend on that darn thing, and it'll blow your mind. You're like, no way, I spent that amount of time. Well, phone doesn't lie, right? Yeah, it sucks you in and traps you. And I just had this conversation with somebody, I say the other day. It could have been yesterday. It could have been last week or last month. But it was all about the folks that created like the like button on Facebook and Instagram and all the other channels, and the apps that suck us in and keep us engaged are the same people that created like the slot machines in Vegas or casinos. And what's the whole point of that? It's that dopamine hit. And dopamine's your feel-good chemical. And you get that hit of dopamine. You're like, yeah, all right, I feel good. I want more of that. I want more of that. Well, dopamine's produced naturally. However, the impulses that we get from like the slot machines or from social media or from people liking our content, that creates a dopamine hit. And before you know it, we can literally, and when I say OD, you're not going to die of it, but you can have too much of that dopamine hit to the point where you can't break away out of the matrix, so to speak. You're kind of sucked in there. And then, like I said, before you know it, you've spent 2, 3, 4, 5 hours on it. And you're like, oh my gosh. So you have to ask, was that worth, I'll just say 5 hours, $5,000? Absolutely not. Man, I got to work my butt off to get $5,000 is what you should be saying to yourself, what I should be saying to myself. And anytime I say you, I'm getting a little better. I'm not pointing the fingers. I'm saying the things that I have done before, and hopefully by me telling these stories, it's empowering you, the listener, to not make the same mistakes. Good. All right. Got all excited there and got all choked up. Had to grab a drink. So the next, about self-sabotaging. My mind tended to wander there. I really got off on a roll. And I've got the thing set up on my phone where I only get 15 minutes of Facebook or Instagram. Now, here's the deal, and I'll just be honest and transparent. I can override it, and if I'm working on a post or if I'm looking through some old content or this or that, 15 minutes flies by. It's like, boom. I'm like, oh, man, well, I can override it, and oftentimes I do, and then if I'm honestly working on something productive, I forgive myself. If I'm not, I probably need to beat myself up a little bit more. And I'm not saying I beat myself down to the point where I'm bullying myself where I can no longer function. That's no good either. There's got to be a balance in that. But put that alert on there, because when it pops up, your time is up or 15 minutes is up. I'm like, man, did I really do that? And it's a good reminder. Matter of fact, I've got in my office here, I've got this sand hourglass thing, and it's 30 minutes long. And I've had it for a number of years now, but I hadn't been using it. Well, now I've been doing that. If I'm working on a project and I want to get the project done, yes. However, I know a lot of times after 30 minutes, it's time. I'm probably hitting a wall. My cup is full. It's running over. My creative juices are worn out a little bit. And plus, I've been sitting for a half an hour straight without moving. So I get up and walk around either my office or go back downstairs, refill my water, whatever I need to do. Because without that hourglass, I'm telling you, the time just slips on by. And before you know it, you got back spasms, neck spasms, your butt hurts, your feet hurt, your legs hurt. And it's like, why? Well, you've been sitting there and, you probably haven't been drinking enough water. I know that I've got my thing of water here. I drink on it all the time. And once it's empty, it's like, okay, well, I'm right in the middle of this. I need to stop. Once again, break the matrix. Get out. Go fill up that water. Walk around a little bit. Now, I was blessed to had a chance to go over to Korea 4 different times for martial arts. And one of the biggest things they do with their education system, and which is kind of the opposite, unfortunately, what we do here in the United States. And those that don't know, I was a PE teacher for 11 years as well. So I did PE during the day and had our martial arts academy at night. And I loved it. It was great, but it got to the point where, working literally hundreds of hours a week and never seeing my family. I've talked about that on many other shows. That's a recipe for disaster as well. And we can dive into that more again on another episode, or you can kind of search back through some previous ones and hear when I talk about those things. But my point I'm bringing up is they're a big believer in kind of when the glass is full, the Asian culture. And with martial arts, we talked it when your cup is full, you've got to empty your cup in order to absorb new knowledge. Now, your cup being kind of your mind. But you can visualize a cup full of water. Now, if your cup's full of water and you keep trying to pour water into that cup, what happens? Well, the water splashes out, right? And it's just splashing out all over and you're pretty much wasting it. That's like if your mind is already full and we try and pour new data or new input in there, it's just going to splash out and get wasted. You have to drink or empty your cup in order for your cup to be filled up with new knowledge and new wisdom. That was in martial arts would do meditation. You just kind of air in your nose, breathe in, air out your mouth. That's the thing I've done on numerous podcasts. Maybe we'll do a couple right now. So if you're driving, keep your eyes open. But if you're not, if you get an opportunity, just close your eyes for a second. I want you to breathe air in your nose. Let your lungs expand. Hold. And exhale out your mouth. Inhale in. Let your lungs expand. And exhale out. And one more time. Inhale in slowly. Fill your lungs up. Hold. And exhale out. Good. And what we did there, and the inhale, you should actually feel your lungs expand with air because you're breathing air in. And then you exhale, deplete your lungs, and blow the air out. So in the count, it can be anything that you're comfortable with. I usually like, 4's a number. You inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds. Now you can do that with 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever you feel comfortable with. But the whole idea of that is, man, it's a small little meditation, and you're emptying your cup so you can take on new knowledge, or you can fill that cup up. But anyway, back to Korea. What they would do with their education system, they have some type of physical activity every day in the morning, and then they have They try every 20 to 30 minutes, get the kids up and moving around. At least the education system that I was privy to talk to, and some of the educators and teachers, I thought it was fantastic. And I'm not saying it's all the way around at every school system in Asia and Korea, but that's the way the people I spoke with, that's the way they did it. And I thought it was fantastic. So every 20 to 30 minutes, the kids would get up, kind of stand up behind their desk, maybe walk around, do the breathing, and then they would be refreshed. Their cup would be empty, and they'd be ready to absorb new knowledge. But they had some kind of physical activity. Most of it was martial arts in the morning, and then they had like a PE class when they would work on calisthenics or another martial arts. It depends on the school setting. And then at the end of the day as well. Wow, good stuff, right? Unfortunately, here we had, I was a PE teacher. The kids had PE, elementary, 1 day a week. And oftentimes, unfortunately, the kids that had trouble focusing or concentrating or talked too much, which are all the issues I had growing up, and probably still, well, not probably, I know I still have today. But the kids, the teachers, and I'm not blaming the teachers, they did the best they could do with what they had. But those kids would have to miss recess and miss PE because they couldn't get their work done, or because they were in trouble for talking. So what the kids needed most was to go outside and run around at recess or go to PE class and expend some of that energy. But that was taken away because they couldn't focus. Well, the reason they couldn't focus and get their work done is because their little cups were already full. And I like to think of this analogy of, think about in your mind, if somebody keeps pouring water in there and it just splashes over, well, it makes you feel uncomfortable. So you get all jittery, right? Yeah. Well, I know firsthand experience. My cup's full. That's how I get. I got to get up and move around. And that's the best way to empty your cup. The meditation we talked about, but physical activity, getting up and moving around, that's spot on. So kind of drifted off a path there a little bit, but it was all about, negative influences and negative situations or negative self-sabotaging things we do to ourselves. Good. All right. Next question was, do you have anchors in your life that are bringing you down? And that could be family, friends, could be a relationship. And basically, think of an anchor and what an anchor does. An anchor holds that thing back, right? It holds the boat from moving. It clutches onto the bottom and locks in on the whatever the bottom is. It's sand or dirt or whatever, mud. Well, it keeps you from moving up. Keeps you from moving at all. And unfortunately, I have surrounded myself with a lot of different anchors. Now, I've always did my best to help empower as many people as I can. That's my goal. It's why we do the podcast, the video blogs, the speeches, write books, and we had our martial arts academy and try and help out those that want the help. But at the same time, I also got to realize, and I want you to realize, that my message isn't right for everybody, and unfortunately, your message may not be right for everybody either. However, you have your life. Don't allow any anchor to hold you down, keep you down. Good. All right. Next one. Do you have people in your life, and once again, family, that make you feel bad about yourself and about your visions and about your dreams, about your goals? That's kind of another anchor, right? Yeah, but this anchor goes even further. This anchor not only tries to hold you back, but they try and make you feel bad about thinking outside the box. Try and make you feel bad about thinking differently than the norm. And what I mean by the norm is, the world's all terrible. Everybody's out to get me. I'll never be successful. Rich people and wealthy people are bad people because they did something to somebody else to get their wealth. I used to think all those things, and none of that is true. Now, there are some wealthy and rich people that are bad. Absolutely. The monopoly man. But I tell you what, there's far more people that are not wealthy, not successful, not rich, quote, quote, rich, that are bad people than there are that are good ones. It doesn't matter, where your financial status is and where you're at. Some people are good people and some people are not good people. That's all there is to it. And all that I guess wealth does is exploit that, and some people unfortunately have gotten their position by exploiting others. But I believe in that karma thing. What you put out is what you're going to get back, and value your time, as we talked about a little bit earlier, and what what your worth is. Yeah, and I can't determine that for you. I've given you examples of $100 or $1,000, but you have to determine what that is. And then bring that back is, am I utilizing my time the best of my ability? Am I allowing family members or relationships or people that I surround myself with to pull me down or to keep me down or make me think I'm only worth $1 or $10 an hour, where I know I'm worth $1 million an hour, $1,000 an hour, whatever your number is. But you have to believe that about yourself. And that brings up the next question. Are you staying in the same spot with the same people because it's easier? I filmed a video. It should be out in the next week or so. It's called Dog on a Nail. And the little quick story on the dog on the nail. And this video, I'm going to mention a couple others too. They're on the YouTube channel. So go check that baby out. You can get to it by a number of different ways. Type in Warrior Confidence or type in Grogan's BullyProof. Or Rich Grogan. And of course, like I mentioned, the links are in the description box here. So you can go down there and find the links. It'll take you right to our YouTube channel. Anyway, the dog on the nail, the little story is there's two farmers, and they're both sit out on the porch, and it's this old wooden porch, and there's some nails popping up on the porch. It's an old porch, and the boards are coming up. And there's a dog laying over in the corner. And the dog every once in a while will go, whimper, whimper. And kept doing it, and one of the farmers turns to the other and says, "Hey, what's wrong with your dog? Is it okay?" And the farmer says, "Oh, he's just laying on a nail." And the one farmer says, "Well, if he's laying on a nail and he keeps whimpering, it must hurt. Why doesn't he move to a different spot?" And the farmer says, "Oh, that's his favorite spot on the porch. He's loved that spot, and that's his spot." The farmer says, "Yeah, but he's got a nail poking him, and he's whimpering. It can't be that comfortable." He goes, "Well, I like to think of the dog as." Unfortunately, people in society, we get so comfortable with one spot that regardless if a nail's poking us or not, regardless if God's nudging us or not, regardless if we know it's painful to stay in this spot, and it would be much less painful if we moved, we've just gotten so comfortable with that spot, we stay there. Woo! Is that a right hook of reality? Yeah. I know. It was when I first heard that, and I forgot who I heard it from. I've heard it a long, long time ago, but it was one that stuck with me. And it's a great story. I tell that one a lot, simply because we all get stuck in the complacent comfort factor. And even though we know it's not comfortable, that doggone nail is rubbing us raw, but we've been so comfortable sitting or staying or laying in this spot or with this group of influences or this group of people that we surround ourselves with. It's not good. But only you, only I, can make a choice, a decision to change. You have to choose, get off that doggone nail. Yeah, it may be a little uncomfortable at first. It may be scary because that is your comfort zone. That is your comfortable spot. But man, what else is out there? There could be another spot on the porch without a nail poking up. Yeah, that could be out there. There could be other people out there that think the way that you think. And I always felt for years I was on an island by myself. I found out, hey, man, there's other people out here like this. Free thinkers, thinking about, being more successful than you are right now, about achieving dreams, instead of thinking, oh, that's just for someone else. That's just for someone smarter than I am. That's just for someone who, wasn't poor growing up. Oh, that's some people are just, they're born into wealth. Some people are just catch all the breaks and are lucky. And yeah, those things do happen from time to time. However, man, we've all got a talent. We've all got a gift. It's up to us to pull that gift out. And that was the last episode. If you listen to the weekend challenge, it was all about what is your song? I want you to sing your song this weekend. So after you're done listening to this one, jump back over and listen to the previous couple. Actually, spent a couple episodes on that one. Yeah, get your song out. And then here's one that's a bit of a stinger, but I like to bring it up. And that is, if you mess around with people or you spend time with people that have messed up their life and continue to make choices and decisions that continue to mess up their life, what do you think that's going to do to your life? Wow. That was a shot, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Now, on the same thing, if you spend time or you are now looking or seeking to spend time with people that maybe we've all messed up, first of all. We've all messed up. Some have messed up a little more than others. Some have a little more experience. Some have a little more knowledge. I mean, I've messed up in more ways than I care to bring up. I try and bring them up as often as I can, not for sympathy or to have a pity party, but just to share with you, hey, we're all messed up, and we've all messed up in the past. It's what we're doing moving forward. Been bankrupt twice, house foreclosed on, cars repossessed, things I never, ever used to talk about because I was embarrassed to death. Why? Because I was messed up, right? Why would anybody want to listen to me? I've messed up in the past. Well, guess what? That's how we learn. That's called wisdom and experience. Now, if you keep messing up doing the same dang thing over and over and over again, obviously you haven't learned. Example I always like to give is, we tell our kids don't touch the stove because it's hot. Well, they got to find out on their own. They touch the stove. Oh, it's hot. Oh my gosh. I wish I wouldn't have touched the stove. Well, now they learned. They learned a valuable lesson. One, they should have listened. And two, they learned that the stove is hot and the stove does burn you. Now, if you learn from that, to be more leery and not touch the doggone stove again when it's hot. But if you keep touching the stove knowing it's hot, that's not learning. That's refusing to accept the fact that doggone stove is hot. And there's no way you're gonna move forward if you keep doing that. Well, the same thing. If your negative influences continue to do things that they're messing their own life up, it's not helping them get better in any way, shape, or form, but you continue to make the mistakes right along with them, that's like touching the stove over and over and over again, knowing it's hot, but still doing it anyway. You're not learning. Right? Yeah. And boy, it seems like the deeper you dig those holes, the pitfalls in your life, the harder they are to get out of. And of course you say, well, I wish I would have never. Well, I wish I would have never done a lot of things, dumb, crazy, stupid, very unwise, very unsmart, unwise. Listen to me talk over here. Just ridiculous things that I did. I can't undo the past, but what I can do is learn from that past so I don't repeat those same mistakes, those same failures. Now, the biggest reason, and I get this because I've said this, well, I would do all these things, but man, I want to leave my friends behind. They're my friends, and they are, and you want to help them. However, if your friends are causing you more pain, more stress, you're struggling more financially, you're like, what the heck is going on here? I know that I need to be spending my time wiser than I am right now. I know I need to be making more of an investment in me to help me become a better person so I can pay my bills. You may need to cut those ties, man. Spend a little less time with those friends. Doesn't mean you cut them off cold turkey, but a little less time, a little less time, a little less time. I promise you, those friends, those associates, they're going to find others to be with, and you may, I don't want to lose them. I really like them. I really want to help them. Well, sometimes in order to help the ones we love, we got to break away a little bit in order to get ourselves in the right frame of mind so we know how to not only help ourselves become our very, very best, but if we're in no shape to help out others because we're a mess, then what good are we really doing? So sometimes we got to break away a little bit to empty our cup, to self-educate, to read the books, to surround ourselves with another group of friends and influences that can help lift us up. And once we get there where we're in control of our life, we're learning how to deal with the struggles, the challenges. We're learning how to overcome, to battle through, to succeed. We're learning how to become a hero in our own lives. Then we can help out our other friends. And you might say, gosh, dang, that sounds great and all, but how long is that going to take? I don't know. I truly do not know. And it could take a long time. Just like, think about this. Talk about exercise and fitness. Maybe a person hasn't worked out in 10 years. Well, they decide, all right, this is it. I'm going to get in better shape. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to work out. I'm going to go do this thing. Well, it's been 10 years of kind of neglecting your body or your nutrition. It's going to take a little while to get your body back to where you want it. Your body never forgets, but it does need a start reminder sometimes, a kick in the tail. But it ain't going to happen overnight. So how many years you've been around negative influences and you've dug these pitfalls in your life and you're down in these holes, and I'm not trying to scare you. I want you to dig out. I want you to work out. I want you to get out of those pitfalls and those holes to be the hero you were born to be in order to help out others. But it is going to take a little bit of time. But, and I just listen, a book, meant to put it in my notes. I think I may have missed that. But a book I'm reading right now is one of my favorite books. It was called The Greatest Salesman of All Times. A fantastic book. Well, the author hadn't written a follow-up to that book, and he'd written a few other books for a number of years. Well, this is kind of the greatest salesman of all times into the story. And he's talking about a point that really caught my attention was there's a real big difference between late and too late. Huge divide there. Yeah, it's later than you wanted it to be. You know, there's an old adage that says, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Right now. Yeah, we can't go back 20 years and wish I would have, wish I wouldn't have done this, wish I would have done this. It's too late. Learn from it. Start right now. You might be in a big pitfall right now. You might be in a big hole you've dug for yourself. Start climbing your way out of it. It may take a couple days, may take a couple weeks, may take a couple months. But as long as you're making progress, and we talked about on the last one, the goal setting, the last show, and I've done so many shows on goal setting. You can search back through and find one that would talk about the goal setting method. But goal setting, you're working toward. So just envision yourself in this pit. You're climbing out of that. But don't give up until you get out, but you got to benchmark your progress. Maybe your goal is to lose 20 pounds. Well, you go at it with the goal is 20 pounds, but you don't benchmark your progress or your successes, and you're like, oh, I never made it. When I was a personal trainer for a number of years, that would be the thing. I'd get a new client and would talk about it, and they say, oh, I never made my goals. Never made my goal. I had this other trainer, and I said, well, what was your goal? Lose 20 pounds. I said, how much did you lose? I lost 12. Well, man, I said, you only had 8 pounds to go. Yeah, but I was never going to make it. So I was like, when I say benchmark, now visualize this and think about you're in a pit, if you will. I was like visuals. You're building a ladder to get out of that doggone thing. Now, the weight loss thing, 20 pounds, well, put 20 hash marks like a ladder. And you could do it up or down, whatever way you like. I was like climbing out of something that's got us trapped, and your freedom. I'm climbing away from all this weight. I'm losing all this weight. I'm shedding it. I'm leaving it behind. I'm going to climb out of this overweight pit, and now I'm free because you're climbing up that ladder. That's the way I like to do it. But if you like up or down, whatever. Anyway, think about this. You set the top mark, 20 pounds is your goal. Or you're climbing out of this pit. You're climbing out of this pity party or this depressed mode or this group of influences you need to get away from. With the weight loss, the 20 pounds is at the top. And now you make 20 rungs and you start tracking it. Therefore, you've got a visual that you can see. So if you think about this, the people the client I had that lost 12 pounds with someone else, but then gave up, I presented to them, look, you have climbed 12 rungs of this ladder. You have worked your butt off to get here. You only got 8 rungs to go, man. It's a further fall down than it is to climb up 8 more steps. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Those last 8 pounds are probably going to be extremely tough. But look, you can see light at the end of the tunnel. You can see the top of the steps. You can see you're about to climb out of that. And that's why visual representation is so powerful with goal setting. Can you see how that kind of ties in with the negative influences too? Now, here's another thing, and it's in the program we're working on, the Warrior Confidence, Defeating the Bully Within to Become BullyProof program. And it's all about, I guess it's a little worksheet. It talks about engines and anchors. And I want you to write engines at the top of a page and draw 3 lines. And then maybe down the page, or you can split the page in half, whatever works best for you. And on the other side or at the bottom, write anchors and draw 3 lines. And I want you to think about 3 people that are in your life that maybe you've neglected or you just haven't spent as much time with, or maybe you thought they were weirdos because they were attending conferences and self-educating and listening to podcasts like this, and you thought, yeah, but that's not very cool, man. I'd rather be out drinking and partying. Well, and that's fine. You're welcome to do it. It's your life. But sometimes I know I sometimes wrote people off like that, and it's like, oh, they don't seem like they're having fun, but yet they're succeeding. Wow. Anyway, just a thought there. But anyway, so under engines, write 3 names. 2, if you can't think of 3, write 2 names. Or write names of people you would like to surround yourself with more, or people you'd like to come in contact with. Now you've got their names down. It's a visual representation. Now you're going to make an effort to follow them on social media. Or, if they've got a podcast, listen to that. Or, YouTube channel. And you're going to follow them and see what they're doing. See how they're lifting not only themselves up, but others. Write that name down. Write those 2 names down or 3 names down. Or hopefully maybe it's somebody that you can actually connect with. Maybe it's an old friend. Now, under the anchors, I want you to write down 3 names of people. And it's going to be tough. I know when I did this, it was tough for me to write down names of friends that I was going to try and distance myself from. It hurt. I mean, I felt like a horrible human being for even thinking and putting their name down, but I knew who they were. And it doesn't mean I'm going to turn my back on them. It doesn't mean I'm not going to love them anymore. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop praying for them. If anything, I'm going to pray for them more than I've seen their name, because I still want to be a part of their lives. But I also realize, man, they're anchors and they're pulling me down. They're keeping me and holding me back. But then when I say it that way, they are holding me back. Really, the only person holding me back and the only person that ever will hold you back is yourself. I'm the only person that kept myself from succeeding, from climbing out of that pit, so to speak, or from cutting ties. And once again, it doesn't mean you can't go back to those people. But if you're not in the right frame of mind to help yourself, there's no way in heck you can help anybody else. I know that stings. I know that's painful. It's hurtful. But I'm telling you, it's powerful. Putting things down. When pen hits paper, that's when the magic happens. When you set goals and you write them down, when you write those 3 names down of anchors, wow, you see it now. And then what's your mind going to do? Well, it's going to do one of 2 things. It'll probably do both. One, it's going to try and guilt you into feeling like, man, who do you think you are? You think you're better than these guys? Matt Grogan guy always talks about humility. How's that being humble, writing down anchors' names that you want to spend less time with? It may tell you that. Well, that's your mind trying to keep you in your comfort zone, trying to keep you on that nail. Or the other side, it may dig up all the reasons why, yeah, that was probably a wise choice to write that anchor down. And I need to really get myself in a better frame of mind before I can really do a lot with those friends. Doesn't mean you're giving up on them, but it means you truly want to help them. And some people can't be helped. They have to help themselves, just like I have to help myself. You have to help yourself. But you made a choice to listen to this podcast, and I'm hopeful that it's helping you. I'm pouring my heart out here, as I always do, and sharing stories with you about painful, I don't say breakups, but cutting ties, but also getting myself in a position where you got to be a hero of your own life before you can be a hero of somebody else's life. And that's something I work at every single day to be a better version of myself. It's one of the prayers I have for myself. And I pray for all my friends, all my families, anybody that's struggling, and just help them in whatever way they need help in. But then when I ask God for myself, I ask God, I said, please help me, please grant me the wisdom to be a better person today than I was yesterday. Grant me the wisdom and help me be a better father, be a better husband, be a better coach, be a better speaker, be a better video blog podcaster, be a better author, and just overall be a better person so that I'm equipped with the tools and the wisdom and the knowledge and the vocabulary to help out others, to share my gift. That's my prayer every single day. Now, it maybe not exactly that, I throw in other pieces here and there, but my whole point is back to the visual representation, easy for me to say, by putting that down on paper and seeing those names, and maybe it's a family member you truly want to help. They've got to help themselves, but you got to make sure you don't allow them to bring you down. And once again, the title of this episode, Avoiding the Pitfalls of Negative Influences. Everybody we're associated with influences in one way or another. That's just the reality of things. Is that a lot? Yeah, I mean, it is. And I know there's a lot of right hooks of reality in there. And I know there's a lot of stingers in there. And it's never my goal to, well, you know what? My goal, I want to be, as I mentioned, transparent as possible. But I also want to be truthful, honor integrity, not lie to you, not tell you the world's all sunshine and rainbows. It's tough. It can be a tough, tough place. It could also be a beautiful place. But it doesn't mean we're not going to go battle through storms. And I once read that any point in time, we're in one of three places. We're either coming out of a storm, currently battling through a storm, or getting ready to go into another storm. That's just how it is. But those storms build that perseverance, build that willingness, build that determination, that battle, that perseverance to battle through and not give up. And then utilize what we've learned from those storms to help out ourselves if it happens again. Like, we know the stove's hot, don't touch it. We know these friends that probably aren't our best influences are going to probably bring us down. We can go over there or their house or call them. And, if it's all same doom and gloom, you can do what you can to help them. You can say, hey, why don't you listen to this guy's podcast, Warrior Confidence? I think it'll help you out. Now, it was a little plug for sharing the podcast, absolutely. Why? Because, well, I in order for the podcast to grow, in order for the podcast to reach as many people as I want it to reach, in order to empower as many people as I want it to empower, we got to share this thing. We got to give those likes, those reviews, those 5-star reviews and comments. And if you don't like it, well, that's fine too. Like I mentioned, it's not right for everybody. I'm just grateful for your time here today, and I hope you took away some golden nugget of information that's going to help you in some way, shape, or form. And maybe I'm not right for you right now. Maybe it's not the right message for you at this present moment. But if it is, I encourage you to go back and listen to it more than once. Or maybe you thought it wasn't, give it another shot. Listen to another episode. Maybe that'll help you out. But the whole goal, what I'm trying to do is, with the Warrior Confidence, is which, by the way, is kind of the ultimate protective shield. It's built on the armor of God, which is fantastic. But it's empowering you to defeat that bully within, defeat that bully in your own mind, in order to courageously stand up, stand out in the crowd, to battle through every challenge you face, every fear, every struggle, every bully real in life and in your own mind. But most importantly, to believe enough in yourself to utilize your God-given talents to share your gift with the world. That's what the Warrior Confidence is all about. Self-empowerment. Believe it in yourself. Knowing there's going to be trials and tribulations, there's going to be storms, there's going to be challenges. But don't add to those challenges by surrounding yourself with negative influences. People that focus only on the negative. Got to have the positive, man. The better you feel about yourself, not only the better life you're going to live, but the better legacy you're going to live and leave. Legacy, leave. And also the greater impact you're going to have on your own family and your own kids. And people need you at your best. And so, I've been working out more this past month than I have in years combined. Why? I know when I'm doing that, when I give it all I've got on these shows, and if I don't have I'm out of my bad tongue tied there, right? That ever happened? I used to edit those things out, and I just leave them in. Why? It's real. But if I'm not at my best, I can't serve at my best. I can't do the best podcasts or video blogs. So there we go. All right. What'd you think? Did you like that? Was that helpful? Okay. Well, make sure you, you can't really leave comments on the podcast. Well, you can if you're on YouTube. So if you listen to the podcast on YouTube, you can leave the comments. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, smack that bell so you're notified when every new YouTube video comes out. And the same thing if you're listening on a podcast app. We love those 5-star reviews. And of course, I'd love it if you shared it with someone else. So the last couple episodes, I gave a big shout out to Fitbod, the exercise and fitness app. My workout partner, Dave. Thanks, Dave, for continuing to push me. He sent a text today and said, what time is Warrior Confidence training? I'm like, Dave, that's all right, buddy. So thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. But the Fitbod exercise app is an app he's been using for years. And I just started using about, I guess 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and it's fantastic. So, check that thing out. I'm not, just a kind of plug for them. I'm not doing any advertising for them. I just know I like the app, and it's worked out well for me. And then also want to give a big shout out once again to Master Nathan Wilkening. He took over our martial arts academy in Edwardsville, Illinois. So if you're in the surrounding areas, make sure you check that out. Help empower your kids, manners, discipline, respect, and help bully-proof them. Because before you know it, school's going to be back in, right? So let's get them off on the right track before school starts by getting them kind of programmed on the summer on how to follow directions and be respectful. Good stuff, good stuff. And then the name of the academy now is Goshen Martial Arts. Maybe you can find it even if you type in Grogan's Martial Arts. Our website still goes to his new website and helping him grow. So good stuff there. And the closing notes here, just a reminder to check out previous episodes, especially if you found value in this one. Sound good? All right, folks. Well, thank you so very much for your time. I love you. God loves you. Please share that love with the world. And until we talk again, you get out there and do your best, and I promise you'll be your very best. God bless you. God bless your loved ones. Can't wait to read your comments on YouTube, and can't wait to chat with you again real soon. Have a blessed day, everybody. Thank you so very much for listening. Bye-bye. Thank you so very much for listening today. I am truly grateful. My goal is to empower millions of people with hope, faith, and confidence to believe in themselves in order to make our society a happier, healthier, and safer place to live. But I can't do it alone. So if you found value in this message, please share it with someone else who could benefit from it, and by subscribing and leaving a 5-star review. Be sure to pick up copies of my books for yourself and someone you care about at www.warriorconfidence.com. Also, remember to stay empowered throughout the week by subscribing to our YouTube channel and our Facebook and Instagram pages at Warrior Confidence. Thank you again, and have a blessed day.